Welcome to Jaguars.
Whoa! Welcome back to the garage. This is Jaguars, and in this episode we are going to be talking about brake lines. Yes, we are going to be running, we're going to be laying some pipe in that rear end. God. Anyway, yes, so we're going to be talking about brake lines. We're going to be talking about the material, what type of fittings, what types of flares. I'm going to avoid as many rabbit holes as I can because this video could go on forever. We're also going to talk about, and this is very important, kink. Now, I'm not talking about the kink that you have to go to therapy for. I'm talking about brake lines. So, anyway, yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so what we've got here is this is a brake line, feeds brake fluid to these guys. And what we need is, we need something that goes from here, around here to there, one that goes there, and one that goes there. Whoa! So you think I've got it all figured out. I've got my brake lines and it's all put together, and this will be the shortest video I've ever done in my life, but no. That would be way too easy, and well, I got the brake lines from an XJS that was just way too pretty to live. As I'm installing them on this IRS, I'm thinking to myself, you know, these shouldn't be wiggling as tight as the nut is. So I decided that I'd like to get some pre-bent kits. They don't have pre-bent kits. They have kits that have all the fittings and supposedly the right length tubing, but you have to bend them yourself, and they're $236, and I don't want to spend that kind of money. So I decided, well, I'll just go get my own. We've got steel, stainless steel, and copper. Well, steel, it's just too hard. Steel and stainless steel, they're just too hard to bend, and they kink easy. And copper, that leaves copper. Now, this isn't the copper that you go find at your local hardware store, or get your wife all dolled up and send her over to your perv neighbor to distract him while you go steal the copper lines off of his ice maker. No, this isn't the same stuff. It won't work for long. This stuff is actually, it's called Nicopper conifer. Sounds a little bit rude if you ask me. It's a copper nickel alloy, and it's got a little bit of iron, a little bit of manganese sprinkled in. It's certified by the certifiable people that say it's, you know, okay to use as brake lines. I don't know. I am so depressed. No pre-bent kits, not even green ones. So what do we do when we're depressed? We go shopping. Oh, forgot my scissors. All right. So I bought what I could, and most of it was, well, actually it was crossover pipes, and I needed a crossover pipe anyway. I had one. Of course, I need two, so anyway, yeah, so I got this. That's all I could find. Son of a bitch. This isn't right. This is a 45-degree flare. This is the one I have. This is the one I bought. It's not like I can return it. I've already cut the damn thing out. These aren't the same. The fittings are right. This is a union for a bubble flare. See how the mating surfaces look like they would mate? This is a 45-degree flare, and see how it's raised in the middle? It's the mating surface in my caliper is a bubble. So this is wrong. Hold on to your knickers, because here we go down rabbit hole number one. This is called a British brake pipe. This is metric. It actually matches. So we've got a flat bottom and 115 degrees included angle. This one, on the other hand, is a Girling SAE convex or bubble flare. It's 45 degrees with an inverted angle of 90 degrees, and as you can see, it's a little bit more Cardassian. at both ends. These are not interchangeable. Not only, well, you can actually thread one of these into an SAE hole, because this one's just a short curly one, smaller, and you might catch a thread or two and it might tighten up, but it won't work. Not only because the thread pitch is wrong, because the bubble flare is wrong. Hang on to your pipe nuts, here we go down rabbit hole number 2. This is a brake pipe off the XJS. This is a brake pipe that came with the IRS. Yes, they're different, but we'll get into that later. This is a brake hose. Notice that it doesn't thread on, but it does on this one. So we have metric and SAE? Short answer, yeah.
This little teeny tiny page came out of a Series 3 manual. Basically what it says is, if it's black, it's metric. And if it's not black, it's SAE. This one is black, and this one is SAE. This is metric. This is SAE. And now to really mess with you, this is metric, and it's trumpeted.
When did this start? I don't know. I wasn't there. But I know it started when they turned green. That happened in 1983, but it could actually have happened sooner. It could have happened with the Series 3 in 1979, or it could have started in 75 with the XJS. I don't know. I wasn't there. Of course, everything that I just said only applies to this bit right here. This or this. Everything on the IRS, all the feeder pipes to the T and the calipers are all Imperial. The exception of that, I feel like my head is gonna explode. Oh. So who gives a rat's ass about DIN and ISO and metric and European and Girling? Because if you go and buy a crossover pipe, for example, from a Jag parts dealer and you get the wrong one, or you get a caliper, a DIN ISO bubble flare with a 38 by 24 pipe nut, which is wrong, or if you decide to roll your own, like I did, I'd kind of like to save you the trouble that I've had to deal with.
Whoa.
Let's just say I'm a slow learner. Measuring, that's what's up next. So there's a couple ways that you can do it. This isn't gonna work because it doesn't bend very well. So what you do is you sneak into your wife or girlfriend or significant other, not judging, their sewing kit. And this is for, for measuring. Take this and you just stick it there and you run it around there, 7.5 inches. Okay, so you don't have one of these. What do you do? Well, let me show you a cool little trick. Take one of these and a Sharpie. So you take your Sharpie and you mark it. It's kind of fiddly, and of course I'm picking the easiest one to do because, well, it's the easiest one to do. And then you just kind of roll it on the bench. Just trying to keep a straight line. And you mark it. And we take our tape measure. And we have 7.5 inches. So you then take this, 7.5 inches. And you mark it. This is what you need. This is a pipe cutter. This is a pipe cutter. This one's a piece of shit. This one's not. So what you do is screw this way so you can get it. See, there's a nice little groove to stick that in there. Come on, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. So as I'm turning this, I'm tightening this. And so you just kind of keep doing this. Or you can do it this way. You can tighten it and spin it, tighten it and spin it, and ta-da, we're off. So I'm gonna give myself about 1/4 of an inch more. All right, so then here we go again. I have this wonderful handy dandy little tool. It is a Noga deburring tool. It's not necessarily made for brakes. It's made for not brakes, but it works really good for brakes or pipes. Okay, pipes. Stick it in the end, just the tip and only for a second. Give it a little twirl and pop that off and stick on the other one. And now we're gonna work the outside. So we've got a nice little bevel on both sides, but there's schmoo on the inside. So blow it out, and there it is right there. So there's the, from the burr. Don't want that in your brakes, that's for sure. This is a flaring tool, and this is a flaring tool. This one's a piece of shit for conifer. This one's not. And here's why.
This started out to be about 12 inches long. Notice that it's kind of ribbed for her pleasure and the end of it's cracked. I could not just get a good flare out of it.
Now your next question is hey, have you got a girling pipe die? Nope. So how are we going to go about doing this? So happens that an SAE double flare is 45 degrees. All right, so I've got this pipe already chamfered inside and out, and then I just kind of take a Scotch-Brite pad and you want it to be smooth. A little bit of lube, and it's not KY. Reminds me of a story. So yeah, I put a little bit of lube, and I love this thing. I love it so much I'd sleep with it. Make sure that you've got the chamfer, so you've got your 45 right there, and you put it in like that. Oh, you gotta put the pipe in first. Put the pipe in, put that there, butt this up, and what this does is it just kind of makes sure that you put it, you get it into place, put that to hold that in place, and then just kind of snug it. You don't want it tight. And then you pull the lever, and then you pull it tight. All right, so we have op1, which is DIN. We don't want DIN, we want Cardassian. So we put it over to op2, 3/16. All right, op1 is gonna give us our convex flare. Op2 would actually fold it in and make a double flare. So put that there, make sure this is tight, and there you go. Have one 45-degree convex girling flare.
So we don't have the brake pipes, so we're going to make a template. And this is just a piece of lock wire. I'll just kind of get it in there. Alright, and then put a bend like that. And then run it up like that. So put a bend there. And the distance here is just about well, it's not quite a ½ an inch. Alright, now for the big one. Like, oh, come on, you bitch. There we go. And we stick it in there. So we're going to put another bend right here. Another bend right here. I'm also looking to make sure that we're going to clear the brake cable. And then our final goes right here.
All right, tools. These are a couple pipe benders that I have. This one would probably work if I didn't have such tight radiuses. I don't have anything in the IRS that's actually this big. So this kind of leads me to this. My biggest complaint about this is it puts tool marks in the side of the pipe. Now, this is kind of what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see that or not. But it just puts these little tool marks in it. Doesn't make my face smile. I'll probably end up making a jig for all of these because I've got 8 more differentials to do. Oh. So hey, the moment we've been waiting for, how to lay some pipe in that rear end without any kink. So what are we gonna need? We've got our template. This turned into welding rod. We need copper, some wire rope, and we need our pipe. And we need our crimping tool. So that's just all you do is you stick this in. This is 12 gauge Romex solid core copper. Now, copper work hardens, so you've only got about a couple of bends, and then you got to get yourself a new piece of copper because it gets really hard to bend. So this one's pretty simple. We're just making one of these. So we put the nut right there and we bend it. Is that about right? So we'll just test it against this because I just happen to have it here. All right, so then we'll just put another bend on this side. And they're going the opposite direction. And that one's not quite as sharp. So, and what we'll do is we'll just kind of get it close and then we'll kind of finesse it back at the rear end. We'll just kind of work it in. All right. And bend it like that. Now you're thinking, how the hell are you going to get those out? Because they don't want to come out. Pliers. And they don't. It's really a bitch to get these things out after you do that. There's one. There's two. See how we did. Well, that's close. We can finesse it when we get there. Yep. Actually, this one kind of straightened out a little bit. So I pulled it out too quick, and how am I going to fix that? This is 3/32 wire rope. And this is where this really comes into handy. So then you just kind of stick it in the hole. And it's just the same size, so you kind of work it in. Because if you turn it the other way, it'll unravel the wire rope, and then it won't go in at all, and then you got to kind of start over. So we're getting close. There we go. So we just kind of push it in like that. Just one more thing before I forget. You got about one go on a real tight bend. If you try to straighten it out like I did, it breaks. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start here at the radius. And so that one is pretty much spot on. This one not so much. So we'll start right, actually we're going to start just at the where we want that bend to start. Think about this. Do I want it? All right, here's my dilemma. Do I push on it this way and put a mark there, or do I put this way at the radius, which I think is what we want to do. So we want to put that at the radius of the bend and give it a little bit more. I'm bending a little farther out because I want this to be a little softer. And the closer you push on it next to here, the tighter the bend's going to be. There. All right, there we have it. It's close, and we'll just kind of finesse it when when we get it near the rear end. And then you just pull the wire rope out. How cool is that? For whatever reason, this doesn't look quite right. And we do have this one, so I can actually compare it to it. This is cheating. Yeah, actually that is pretty damn close, if you ask me. This bend might be a little too tight, and it might not spring back. I don't know. Should we try it? Worst case scenario, get stuck and I have to get more pipe because I am out. So now what we're gonna do is we are gonna stick this in here. Just kind of run it all the way through. And it's right there. That's in there. Now we're going to bend this up. Now before we need that at that end.
Okay, now for the big one. What I've got is I've got my wire rope stuck all the way through. I'm not going to push it all the way through because because I'm not. Take our Sharpie, get that end, put this here, and our first bend is going to be right there. Take our bending tool and we put it right there and we bend it. We want to put it the radius, bend it a little bit more, move it over, bend it a little bit more. Now it's not as tight as the other one, but I think that'll be okay. And look, no kink. Now this isn't a mandrel bend, so there's there's a little dent in there, but it's not kinked. All right, maybe a little bit more. Now, like I said, this stuff work hardens, so you just kind of got to be careful of how many times you bend it. Alright, so there's the first one. Oh, a second one is there, and we're going to bend it on that way. So I think that's about like that. It's like that. And then we're going to bend it here. And we're going to bend it on this side, so I just put a little mark. So what I've done is where I'm going to put the tool and which direction the bend is. See how I did it there? Tool, direction of the bend. Tool, direction of the bend. Let's just go bend this up at the IRS.
Let's get these installed. All right, I'm going to start with these two. And this is the one we bent up on the bench. And I'm going to put this one on first because there's a lot less bendableness to it. So that one goes on the bottom. I like to keep this loose because it just makes it easier to get things installed and, and the threads all line up stuff. So, all right, that one's just kind of started, and I put it on backwards because we want that one over here. And I'll probably have to take this off anyway for the crossover pipe. And screw this in. Not teabag. Now I imagine this one's gonna give me a little bit of a fight. So it goes on like that. So I'm just getting it past the cross thread point. Finally, So I had to loosen this one and this is like practically falling out in order to get this bitch in. All right. We're past the point of the fear of cross-threading. All right. So we still have our wire in here, and this goes along here somehow. So just kind of stick that like that. All right, so we still need a little bit more of a bend here. So just kind of put that like that. So that's going to go like that. Crap, forgot the Sharpie. All right, so we're going to put, oops, so that's going to go like that. And we want a bend that goes up. And we want it to start right about there. And I want to get the orientation right. Up. What I'm doing is I'm just kind of putting a twist in it. It's kind of going the right way. And we'll put this on because we're going to have to put one of these on anyway. All right, so that's going to go right there. Awesome. All right, so there's that. And we got another bend right here. Okay, another bend here. And another bend here. I think I made that a little too long. And I think there's something missing.